listen and think about what this guy's idea is about where we get our intelligence, where our intelligence comes from, and how much control we have over our intelligence.
One school of thought is that, okay, maybe you're either just born with it, or you either have it or you don't. Some people are smart, some people are less smart. Or maybe you can change it. And it turns out there's actually been a lot of research on this in the last few decades. And the answer is pretty clear that your intelligence can actually be changed. What we've learned, what researchers have taught us, is that our brains are actually a lot like a muscle. We know that you can grow your muscles by going into the gym and doing exercise and straining your muscles. You don't just work on things that are easy for your muscles to do. You do things that your muscles have to struggle with, that your muscles have to strain with. And then they rebuild themselves and they come back stronger. By struggling, it's a signal to your body to devote more resources to that part of the body. And we see that exact same thing with the brain. And here are just a couple of examples of it. This first one, this shows how the human brain develops in early childhood. This is a depiction of the neurons in the brain at birth. And then as the child develops, it interacts with its environment, it tries things out, it struggles. It struggles to talk, to converse, to interact with folks, to understand the world around it. And as it struggles, you see that by age 6, you have a much deeper and much stronger connectedness between the different neurons. Similarly, you can never say that word, these are depictions of, these are the neurons of two different scenarios. This is the nerves of animals that were in unstimulating environments, where they're not around other animals, they're in a bear cage. And then this is the brain of an animal that is in a stimulating environment, that is constantly being challenged, that is constantly looking at stimulating new things. And so the big takeaway from this whole area of research is you absolutely can change your intelligence, that your brain is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And that the best way to grow it isn't to do things that are easy for you. That might help a little bit. But what really helps your brain is when you struggle with things. And it's actually, research shows that your brain grows the most not when you get a question right, but when you get a question wrong. So at least for me, this is incredibly exciting, because it lets me know that when I'm going through something, and I'm facing those times of maybe a little bit of adversity or a little bit of frustration, I can feel good about the fact that those are actually the times that I am growing the most. And this isn't just something that I'm saying, nice words. Research tells us when you get something wrong, when you challenge your brain, when you review why you got it wrong, when you really process that feedback, that's when your brain grows the most. And that if you keep doing that, you're well on your way to having a stronger, more able, and I guess you could say, smarter brain.
Okay, so my first question for you is, how is your brain like a muscle? And pass that to someone who's ready. Let's actually pass it and have it come back to you before you talk, okay?
What do you mean, like, pass it like that?
Can you ask them the question one more time as you do it? Can you ask them the question when you pass it to them?
Okay. Yeah. Wait, what was the question again? Right, how the brain is like a muscle. I don't know.
Pass it to somebody who feels confident and ready to answer this first question.
Mari coming
Mari.
What? Damn, I forgot again. Alright. Mari, how is the brain like a muscle?
The brain is like a muscle because as you get older, your brain gets stronger, and if you're stronger, you're getting strong.
Okay. So you said that when you work out, you get stronger. Okay. So what are the ways that you? Okay. So if you're saying your brain can get stronger, then what are some of the ways that you can work out your brain or make it stronger. You just pass it something, right? Tell me what some workouts for your brain are.
Getting the question wrong.
Okay, so he talked about that idea, and you talked about that in the very beginning of the meeting. Why is this idea about getting something wrong, why is that actually a good thing?
Because you can learn from your mistakes, and the next time you do it, you know what not to do.
Okay, so actually getting something wrong is a chance where you can learn from that. Getting something wrong, you can grow from that. So he gives an example, and I'll give another example. Imagine if you had math, you had a test, and it was like 100 questions, and you got them all correct. What's wrong with that? It's 100 questions, you get it done in no time, you get them all correct. What's wrong with that? I don't think Gregory's talked yet. But what if you just got them all correct? Or what if it was you? It was easy, you got them all correct. Thinking about this idea, what's wrong with that?
Oh, that your brain is not working.
Good. And my follow-up question to that, I'll go to you, is why is it important to do things that are hard?
It's important to do things that are hard because you can learn something new from them.
Okay. If we just did things that are, what's something that's easy for you? Okay. So if you were just doing 7 plus 4, 4 plus 3, 2 plus 1, if you were doing that all day, would that be one of the ways to work out your brain? No, not really. So then I guess my big question for you, thinking about all of this, is how do people become more intelligent? And we'll actually have someone else, we'll go to somebody else for this one. Who can sum it up for us? How do people become more, according to this guy, according to science, according to research, and according to what we actually just know from our experience, how do people become more intelligent?
You become intelligent by paying attention in school and
Okay. What are some of the examples that he talks about? I want to go back to the idea of why is failure important? Why are challenges important? How do people become more intelligent? And make sure you're restating the question.
you become more intelligent
You want to get some help?
people that have more can be intelligent by
Become more intelligent.
by stop doing easy questions, do challenges questions.
Okay, by challenging yourself, I agree with that. Think of something that was very, very difficult for you maybe last year or just in your life. What's something that was super tough, but now is easy for you? What would be, well, we can start with you, Gregory. What would be an example of that for you? You talked about your addition. Is there another example? Maybe not even in school, but think about just anywhere in life. Something that used to be really hard, but now is not difficult for you.
Like fourth grade that multiplication was hard for me.
Okay. Can someone give an example from outside of school? Just from living, just life? Then you just feel free to pass it.
The hardest thing that
Something that was hard for me.
like the school
I want something. I get bored with school examples. I want to know just like something in your life that was tough. when I was younger, probably like in second grade or maybe third grade, I had a very hard time like remembering the direction of things. Like if you told me like how to get somewhere, like down to the park or down to the store, like I would easily get lost. Like I was supposed to go that way, and I'd accidentally go that way. Okay? But over time, I practiced like by looking at like where was the sun, like where was like something familiar that I recognized, and I was able to find like how to get places that I needed to go. And now like I know my skills of like how to get around places and how to drive and walk and get to where I need to go. So now it's like not tough for me. But it was really a challenge for me when I was a younger kid. Like I would walk out of the house or out of school and I really didn't know like which way to go. But I got better at it.
Something that was hard for me outside of school
Okay.
was swimming.
Okay. And explain how did that go?
Well, I was getting TikTok swimming lessons, and I didn't want to go.
And now if I threw you into a swimming pool in the deep end, what would happen, Joshua?
I'll be swimming like a shark.
You'd be swimming like a shark?
Yep.
Okay. So you grew with that. Let's hear one more example, one more thing that they used to struggle with, and then I'll move on to our next thing. Okay, let's not make a big deal out of it.
I'm thinking about instead of thinking about
Yeah, just something that was like just tough for you when you were young. Like what was just something that was hard? Just homework. Can you be more specific? You guys keep giving me these school examples. Is your whole life school? Like when I was a kid, I couldn't even make a piece of toast. Like I would burn, like I couldn't cook at all. I burned toast, and then by the time, the next thing I was like, I don't know how to cook macaroni and cheese, and now if you came over to my house, I would cook you a beautiful 3-course dinner, and that was just something that I picked up over time just by practicing. Okay, so like, is it like actually doing it? Is it like keeping it organized?
No, like if it's a race, you're in one, so
Oh, okay.
like I don't have my race format.
Doing an OER, oh, okay, so it's hard for you to like recall that.
Like it's hard for me to like remember.
He's talking about using race to state the question, answer all parts of the question, cite evidence, all that. I'm actually going to move on really quickly because I want to get to something that is kind of the main event today. And I'm going to put this here. And I want to talk about the idea of having a growth mindset, which I think all of you do, but I want to get specific about what that means. Okay? So, like, tell me if you have ever said this. Just read it to yourself, please. Tell me if you've ever said that about something before. Okay? That statement is an example of somebody who has a fixed mindset. And by fixed, I mean somebody that believes that their skills are going to stay the same. Okay? If you're talking about adding fractions with different